Hi, I'm Richard and I'm from the Common Good team. When faced with the opportunity to help someone, we can ask ourselves the question, what's the best way that I can help this person without doing any harm? It's a very loaded question and there's many different ways of answering it. In this video, I hope to outline some of the principles that you can follow of how best you can participate in somebody's story of transformation. This triangle has been helpful to me in discerning what is the way that I can help this person. We're going to go through each of these words. The first thing that we look at is our heart's motivation, the attitude that we have inside of us when wanting to help someone. And so when we are given the opportunity to help someone, we ask ourselves the question, who am I really trying to help here? Am I trying to help myself, or am I helping this person in front of me? And so many times, an opportunity to see ministry happen and transformation happen is sabotaged by our own selfish motives. It turns into this idolatrous affair of self-service and self-glorification. Another three motivators that are just terrible motivators are fear, obligation, and guilt, FOG. And these things spur us into action in the short term, but in the long term cause us to feel resentful, bitter, and even angry with the person asking for help. Another thing that we can check in helping discern our own hearts is to recognize that God is acting in this person's life. He's been busy working with them, He is working, and long after you interact with them, God is going to continue journeying with that person. And when I reflect on that, it reminds me that I am not this person's savior. I'm not this person's hero in their story. God is. And that often helps to refine my selfish motives into actually trying to help that person connect with the true hero, being God. The second thing to consider when helping someone is how we help them. Often the manner in which we do things can leave unintended negative consequences. But some thinking, some planning, some discernment can help mitigate these bad things that can happen in the person's life. And I want to share with you a few principles that can help us know the best way, the best manner, the best how we help the person in their journey. The first thing we look at is to build relationship and have conversation. You know, when you have more than one conversation with someone, you get to hear more of their story. You get to fill in the gaps and you can better understand what your possible part is in their story of transformation. So I encourage you, ask good questions. Don't rush in and try and diagnose and fix things very quickly. Rather build a relationship, get to know them. Understand what is this person actually asking for. Because when you understand what they're asking for, you know how best your part can be in their life. Another thing to consider is if this person is not willing to answer these questions or take the time to answer them, then it's unlikely that they're going to receive the type of help that will bring lasting change in their life. So build relationship and have conversations with them. The second thing is to help people on their own journey. When we consider this person to get to this point in their life has made decisions, has endured things that have happened to them, both good and bad, we understand that they're on their own journey. And God has them before, during, and after this conversation you're having with them. So you need to try and discern and help this person on their own journey. So don't do anything for that person which they have the capacity to do for themselves. Because when you do that, you strip them of dignity. You strip them even of the belief that they can make a difference in their own life and turn them into a victim of saying, I have to wait for someone else to help me. Another question you can ask them is, what else have you done to try and resolve this particular need? And did it work? And why? Because when you ask that kind of question, you reveal a whole range of opportunities and resources that this person has to make use of in their own journey. You wouldn't even know those things existed without asking that question. Another thing to consider is who else can be part of this person's journey? What other resources, opportunities, specialized services can be drawn upon to help this person on their journey? Don't be a fool and think that you're the only person that can help this person on their journey. You can refer to a range of resources to get them and help them on their own journey. The third big thing to remember is to clarify where your helping starts and where it stops. This is all about managing expectations, saying I'm deciding to do this but not do that, and communicating it with this person. It also raises the question of sustainability. Are you able to commit to doing what you say you're going to do? Is this doable in the long term? And finally, one of the most helpful questions I've found is to ask myself the question, what is the most loving thing I can do for this person? And this also sorts out my own motivation sometimes, because sometimes I want to help someone to look good, but actually it's not a loving thing to do. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to say no to someone who's asking for a particular type of help. So when we look at the how, we must remember three things: to build relationship and have conversation, to help people on their own journey, and thirdly, clarify where your helping starts and stops. Back to our triangle. The final word that we want to look at is to act. As we've gone through this, sometimes it feels a bit technical and overwhelming, all these ways you can help someone or the how you can help them. Please remember that God calls you to act. God calls you to seek out justice and to serve people. And where God calls us, He leads us, He guides us, and He inspires us. So don't be immobilized by the complexities and the challenges. Step out in faith and in obedience to Him. Go out and act, knowing that God is with you. So in all of this, I encourage you and remind you to pray. Both the planned, prepared prayers that you can pray before engaging with someone and those quiet ones under your breath while you're talking with someone. I think you'll be so encouraged and to see how God answers those in the moment and into the future. And I remind you that God is working in this person's life. We get to co-labor with Him in journeying with this person in their story of transformation.